Okay. So, the third part of these 3 lectures on Mahavira Ganita Sangraha will be on the areas and volumes. So, the outline. We will first discuss the plane figures, regular figures like circle, Dirgha Vrutta, annulus, then the results for this circumference and diameter of a circle, then segment of a circle. Then we talk about the so called Janya operations which I had introduced earlier, rational triangles, quadrilaterals, then regular volumes, uniform volume, then tapering cross sections, then volume of a sphere, then time to fill a cistern which is discussed for the first time by Mahavira, then shadow problems. Okay. So, for instance, if you have a Vishama Chaturashra, any quadrilateral which is there is no relation among the various sides A, B, C, D, that is the Vishama Chaturashra. Approximate area as in Brahma Sputa Siddhanta, it is given as B plus D by 2 into A plus C by 2, approximate area. And but for an annulus, he gives as annulus means, you know, this is the region between the two circles, okay, between two the circumferences of the circle. So, C1 and C2 are the circumference. So, then the area is given as C1 plus C2 divided by 2 into B. One can check that is exact, this is exactly correct. Then the approximate circumference, I mean even according to Mahavira it is approximate, it is given as 3 into diameter. So, essentially he is taking pi is equal to 3, but the approximate area is 3 into diameter by 2 whole square. Okay. So, essentially pi is taken, you know, very crude value of pi, that is 3 is taken. So, then for the first time he is talking of a Dirgha Vrutta or an Ayata Vrutta, which is essentially an ellipse. We do not know whether he meant an ellipse, but it is some kind of a Dirgha Vrutta, you know, some one side is elongated with respect to the other. The approximate circumference is given as 2 into this 2a plus b, this is the shorter radius, this is the longer radius, 2 into 2a plus b, and approximate area is given as b into 2 into a plus of b. So, this is the what he says. So, this and for the okay, for the segments and perpendicular he gives the usual result. I will not repeat it, it has been done several times, right. So, if the triangle is there, then this is the base, the segments are A1 and A2 and this is the perpendicular. So, the results were given in Brahma Sputa Siddhanta, even earlier also they were given. So, same results Mahavira is stating. Then area of a triangle and cyclic quadrilateral same as in Brahma Sputa Siddhanta, and diagonals of a quadrilateral also he considers, that is also the same as in Brahma Sputa. Now, he goes back to the circumference and area of a circle again. So, in verse 60 he says Vrutta Kshetra Vyaso Dashapada Gunito Bhavet Parikshepaha Vyasa Chaturbhaga Gunaha Paridhihi Phaladharma Pharama Ardha Ardhe Tat. The diameter of the circular figure multiplied by the square root of 10 becomes the circumference in measure. The circumference multiplied by 1/4 of the diameter gives the area. So, he says that the exact circumference of a circle is root 10 into diameter. So, he is taking essentially pi is equal to root 10. So, I told you earlier also this is some kind of a Jaina value you will say, because various Jain texts will give this number. It is an approximate, and area is 1/4 circumference into diameter. This is of course exact, whatever be the relation between circumference and diameter. So, this area itself is exact. So, this is understandable. Probably in fact this is explained in commentaries to Lilavati. So, what is being done is, suppose you have a circle So, okay, divided into segments like this, small segments. So, if a small segment, this arc can be approximated by the chord itself, that it can be considered as a straight. So, then the area of this bit, this segment is, suppose this is some delta c. So, area will be delta c into the height is the radius itself into r divided by 2. So, this is the delta area, that is the area of the segment, and if you area of the circle will be is equal to sum over all these segments. So, when you sum over all these segments, r by 2 anyway will be constant, the radius is the same, that will come out, and sigma delta c, that is essentially the circumference, right, r by 2 into circumference, isn't it? So, because you are going over the whole circle when you are measuring the whole area. So, this is precisely the same thing, instead of radius he is using diameter. So, 1 by 4 circumference into diameter. So, this is independent of the relation between the circumference and diameter. So, probably that is how they got it, and certainly that is how they got it later, this result by Bhaskara and others. Okay. Then the circumference and area of an ellipse, the square of the Vyasakrutihi Shadgunita Dvisangunayama Kruti Yuta Padam Paridihi Vyasa Chaturbaga Gunascha Ayata Vruttasya Sukshma Phalam. The square of the shorter diameter is multiplied by 6, and the square of twice the length as measured by the longer diameter ayama is added to this. This square root of the sum gives the measure of the circumference, and this measure of the circumference multiplied by 1/4 of the shorter diameter gives the minutely accurate measure of the area of an elliptical figure. So, what he is saying is the circumference of a, so our notation is that, so this b is the, or 2b is the shorter diameter and 2a is the longer diameter. So, in that case you have circumference is, his result is this, and the area is b into square root of 6 into b square plus 4a square. Of course, when you see that when you take b is equal to a, you will get the value for the circle, okay, with pi is equal to root 10, but for an ellipse this is not correct, okay. But we do not know, he might not have meant ellipse, so it is not very clear. One has to look at the commentaries little more in detail. The exact values of the circumference and the area are also shown in the slide for comparison. So, then next he will talk about the area of a segment. So, we will come to that. So, segment is this, that is, if a circle is there, so this is a segment, this is a segment, that is what he is taking, and this is the C what he is talking, and this is the arrow, okay. So, what is the, P, okay. So, this is a segment he is referring to. Then in that case he says Ishtapada gunascha guno dashapada gunitascha bhavati ganita phalam yavas samsthana kshetre dhanurakare cha vigneyam. So, dhanurakara is the essentially the figure of a bow. It should be known that the measure of the string cord, you see, multiplied by 1/4 of the measure of the arrow and then multiplied by the square root of 10 gives rise to the accurate value of the area in the case of a figure having the outline of a bow, as also in the case of a figure resembling the longitudinal section of a Java grain. I do not know, that is what he says. So, essentially what he is saying is that if you have a segment like this, the chord is C and the arrow is P, then the area is C into P by 4 into root 10. So, root 10 is basically what is the value for pi is taking. So, even if you replace by pi, it is not correct. It seems to be based, some scholars feel that it seems to be based on the fact that the area of a semicircle, see this kind of a thing will work. So, here the base is the 2r, the diameter, and this height, the arrow is r. So, 2r into r by 4 into pi, so pi r squared by 2, that is correct, right? That is the semicircle area. So, he seems to be basing on that. So, but it is a good attempt. Then the diagonals, perpendiculars and area of a hexagon. So, he gives it in the next verse. Bhuja bhuja kruti kruti varga dvit tritiguna yatha kramenaiva shutya avalambaka kruti dhana krutayascha shatshake kshetre. So, in the case of a regular six-sided figure, the measure of the side, the square of the side, the square of the square of the side multiplied respectively by 2, 3 and 3 give rise in the same order to the values of the diagonal, of the square of the perpendicular and the square of the measure of the area. So, that is what he is saying. So, essentially what he is saying is that this is a hexagonal figure, right. So, A is the side and this P is the perpendicular. So, he is saying that the diagonal is 2A, which is obvious, the P is root 3 into A. So, one can very easily check it, and the area is 3 root 3 by 2 into A squared. Okay. I mean, of course, he is giving the square of the measure of the area. So, square of it is 9 into 3 by 4 into A squared whole squared, you see, that is what he is giving. But if you take the square root, you get this. So, this is the area of a hexagon. So, then he talks of the Janya operations, okay, generating triangles with rational sides, triangles, quadrilaterals and various figures with rational sides, you see. So, as Professor Srinivas pointed out, I mean, that is a generation of the words in grammar. So, I think some same idea seems to be working, you know, generation of, you know, valid rational figures kind of a thing. So, so you take the bijas, bijas means the starting points, you know, the seeds, you start with A, B, that itself may not be the value of the side or of the upright of the triangle. So, the verse, one of the verses describes the procedure to construct an isosceles trapezium with the aid of two right triangles. So, start with two right triangles, then they construct the isosceles trapezium in the following manner. So, this is the perpendicular side of the first triangle plus perpendicular side of the second triangle. So, this is taken to be the perpendicular side, first triangle is A squared minus B squared is the perpendicular side, and the second triangle is C squared minus D squared, and top side is the difference of the perpendicular sides. So, he is starting actually with these right triangles, A squared plus B squared, A squared minus B squared is the diagonal, 2A, sorry, upright, 2AB is the side, and A squared plus B squared is the diagonal. Clearly, I have already mentioned that this square is equal to this square plus this square, right. So, similarly, another triangle like this, only thing is you take 2 CD is equal to 2 AB, C and D may not be equal to A and B, but this relation is there. If that is true, then he will give a rational trapezium like this. The perpendicular also is rational, that is what is, you know, important. So, you take the diagonal to be second triangle diagonal C squared plus D squared. So, a smaller segment of base AE is perpendicular side of first triangle. So, A squared minus B squared, perpendicular HE is base side of first or second triangle. So, these 2 CD is equal to 2 AB, and the lateral side AH, other flanks as they sometimes they are called. So, is equal to diagonal of first triangle. So, it is A squared plus B squared. So, this is the finally this is the isosceles triangle got from this. Everything is, you know, rational, I mean even the segments and all that, right. So, that is important. So, next you construct a right, several other right triangles are constructed. Suppose you have a right triangle with bijas, this square root of 2ab into a plus b into square root of 2ab into a minus b. So, for this upright you take it to be this. So, this square minus this square, and base you take it to be this into this. So, 4ab into a square minus b squared. Diagonal, of course, you take it to be square root of the sum of these squares of this. So 4ab into a squared plus b squared. If you take this and the second triangle, the bejas are taken to be this, a squared minus b is in 2b, that is the perpendicular is this, base is this and diagonal is this. Then in that case you can get a nice trapezium with 3 equal sides, okay, base, the summit and the flanks are equal and the base is. So base is taken to be greater perpendicular side minus smaller perpendicular sides. So it is given by this, and either of the lateral sides is a smaller diagonal, which is a squared plus b squared whole squared. So like that, So that is how it is constructed. So this will. So these are the various interesting things, that will be certainly one of the aims of the book is not just scholarly work, it is also to instruct students and learners of mathematics. So all these will give some good idea of how to manipulate with various things. So then the construction of a cyclic quadrilateral he talks about. Suppose you construct a cyclic quadrilateral with area A. So let x1, x2, x3, x4 be the 4 chosen some divisors, okay. So arbitrarily you take, of course everything is rational, find this. So then take the sides to be this, A is equal to s minus a squared by x1, s minus a squared by x2, etc., etc. So then they are the sides of this cyclic quadrilateral, and one can check that this plus this whole semi perimeter is s, we will get back that, and s minus a is a squared by x1 and so on and so forth. But there is one tricky thing. So area of this cyclic quadrilateral with sides a, b, c, d, we know the square root of s minus a into s minus b into s minus c. So plugging that in, you will get this. This is the area of this cyclic quadrilateral with these sides, right? With these sides, because s minus a will be a squared by x1. So area is this, but originally you started with this area. So this must be equal to a, or x1, x2, x3 is equal to a to the power of 6. So this method will work only if x1, x2, x3, x4 is equal to a to the power of 6. So that is not mentioned. So probably he wanted the student to figure it out, or it is a fit of absent-mindedness. We don't know. So anyway, so this is certainly not valid for arbitrary these things, x1, x2, x3. This has to satisfy that. Okay. So then pillars and segments. So this is also very even in Bhaskara later also you will see that lot of time is spent in constructing various kinds of similar triangles and things like that. So here what is happening is the AB and CD are pillars with AB is equal to some A height of one pillar, CD is equal to B another pillar, BD is the distance between them. So now this is stretched like this to some point E with a string. Similarly, this is from A you are stretching a string and pinning it down at F. So A and C are connected to F and D. So BE, suppose BE is equal to M, this segment is M. So then GE, so the GE is C1 is, you get this, they are nice results, and GF is equal to C2 is B into this, B into C plus M into this, and P, the perpendicular, this perpendicular is C2 into A by C plus 1. There are some good symmetries in this, that is what is very interesting, there are some good symmetries in this. So this will be, can be kindly derived, okay. So using similar triangles, okay. Then after the areas, then it comes to volumes. So then before that, of course, circumference of a triangle, cyclic quadrilateral, and relation between A and S are the same as in the earlier works. And the next chapter is an excavations, they have always call it excavations, and he talks about the volume of a frustrum is the same as in we spent some time yesterday explaining that, right. So, how do you get the frustum? This is a figure like this, isn't it? So, tapering kind of a thing, isn't it? So, this is a frustum kind of a thing. So, here this bottom portion, this is taken to be a square of side A is A prime. So, then Brahmagupta had given the approximate volume, somewhat a better approximate volume than exact and all that, and we saw that the exact volume is correct. So, all these results are given by Mahavir also. So, then he talks of the volume of a sphere. The half of the cube of half the diameter multiplied by 9 gives the approximate value of the cubical contents of a sphere. This approximate value multiplied by 9 and divided by 10 or neglecting the remainder gives rise to the accurate value of the cubical measure. Vyasartha dhanartha guna nava gola vyavaharikam ganitam tad dashamamsham navagunama shesha sukshmam phalam bhavati. So, dashamamsha and all this multiplied by 9 divided by 10. So, those are talked about. So, what he is saying is that, so earlier also he had the more accurate volume of the sphere is given to be this. So, it is curious, d by 2 whole cubed into 9 by 2 into 9 by 10. The correct value is of course 4 pi by 3 into d by 2 whole cube, right. This is what we know, 4 pi by 3 r cube. So, if you equate these, you will get 4 pi by 3 is equal to 9 by 2 into 9 by 10. So, essentially it is equivalent to, so the formula is okay, if you take the, if you assume that he has taken the circumference by diameter as the pi to be this 3 into 81 by 80. So, at least it is better than 3. Okay. So, then he talks of some water pipes filling a cistern or some vessel. Okay. The pipes are there. So, this is some ancient equivalent of a syntax tank. Okay. So, they are all leading water, you see this. It's a very relevant problem especially for Chennai. These one should know these things. So, he gives the time which is required to fill up the tank. Vapi pranalikaha swasvakala bhaktaha savarna vichedaha tadjuti bhaktam rupam dinamshakaha syat pranalika yutya taddina bhaga hataste tadjalagatayo bhavanti tadvyapyam. The number 1 representing each, the bracket is, as I told you, sometimes where some things may be missing in the verse, but it has to be understood. Okay. So, as no Western scholar has objected, so we can take it that it is reasonably one can assume this. The number 1 representing each of the pipes is divided by the time corresponding to each of them separately, and the resulting quotients represented as fractions are reduced so as to have a common denominator. 1 divided by the sum of these fractions with the common denominator gives the fraction of the day within which the well would become filled by all the pipes pouring in their water together. Those fractions with the common denominator multiplied by this resulting fraction of the day gives rise to the measures of the flow of water into that well. So, essentially one see, let there are various pipes. So, let Ti be the time or the day, time may be in units of days you can take, or so it can be a fraction also taken by the water flowing through the pipe I to fill the volume. Okay, let Ti be this thing. So, fraction filled in 1 day by the ith pipe, you see. So, to fill the whole volume it takes time Ti. So, in 1 day it is taking how much it is filling 1 by Ti, right. And if all the pipes are open, amount filled in 1 day is this. Okay, you have to sum over all these inverses, and hence the number of days or fraction of days needed to fill the cistern, that is the whole thing, that is equal to 1 over all these inverses. So, 1 over this. So, that is a good correct result, exact result. So, he gives an example, चतस्रः प्रणालिकाः सुस्थत्रैकैका प्रपूरयति वापीं द्वित्रिचतुः पंचांशैः दिनस्य कतिभिः दिनांशैः સ્તાः. There are 4 pipes leading to a well, and among them each fills the well in order in half, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5 of a day. Then in how much of a day will all of them together fill the well, and each of them to what extent? Okay. So, how much is this thing, and after they fill, in this thing, what is the time taken, and what is the contribution from each pipe, that of course can be calculated. So, that is what he is saying. Okay. So, then again he comes to the volume with uniform cross section. So, one of the verses will say that the volume of an excavation, somehow they use the word excavation in all these things, is a product of the area of cross section multiplied by the depth or length. So, this is the, see, once some important topic is discussed, it is always discussed by the later mathematicians which follow. So, this system, this water pipe problem and this excavations and all that, they are discussed by in Leelavati, they are discussed by Thakura Feru in Ganita Kaumudi, like that, various people will, and they may be adding a little bit, or modifying it to suit some new things. Similarly, volume with a trapezoidal cross section is given to be, if the area of cross section is, we know that if A is the base and B is the summit and H is the height, the area of cross section is A plus B by 2, sorry, A plus B by 2 into H, right, that is the area of cross section. So, this multiplied by this L. So, that is the volume with trapezoidal cross section. Okay. So, then he talks of a sloping platform. So, here it is the area of cross section is frustum, etc. he has talked about. Now, he is talking about a new thing. The area of cross section is not constant, but varies uniformly. See, suppose we have an isosceles trapezium where the base is A, summit is B and the height H is at one end, and over a length L it slopes uniformly to a base A, height is D and the summit is B plus A minus B into 1 minus D by H. So, what is the volume of the platform? In fact, where it is posed is the following. So, one starts with a uniform cross section. Where the base is A, the summit is B and the height is H. So, here the volume is clear. So, it is the area of cross section into this length. So, now suppose this structure is struck like this, struck like this, so that what remains is this, So, up to this only, up to some height D from the bottom, that is there, and then, so this is what is remaining. So, this uniform, this structure, it is struck, and so that at this end the summit is A, the base is A, the summit is B and the height is H. Here at this end, at the left end, the base is A and the height is only D, and this has decreased uniform correspondingly. So, it is no longer uniform. So, the area of cross section is changing, and also you see here not only is it changing here over the cross section, it is changing in this direction also, and this much amount has fallen, this much brick has fallen or this much structure has fallen down. So, what is remaining? So, that is what we have to find out the volume of that. So, in terms of bricks, for instance, so if the original number of bricks is there, how many bricks have fallen and how many are remaining. So that is the thing we have to calculate. So the volume of the remaining structure, so that is what we have to calculate. The result it gives is, so at one end it is an isosceles trapezium with sides base A, summit B, height H, and the other side the base A is A, summit is B plus A minus B into 1 minus D by H. You see, it has proportionately this height has become D. So you can calculate that this base, this summit will become B plus A minus B into 1 minus D by H, right. When D is equal to 0, top and bottom are the same at the left end and width is A. When D is equal to H, that is uniform cross section, the second term is 0 and width at the top is B. For an arbitrary D, the width at the left end is B plus A minus B into 1 minus D by H. So then at some intermediate these things, so then how much is this, the cross section? The base will be A only. One can show that this is B plus A minus, this is the end, B plus A minus H by L into 1 minus D by H into X, okay. So this is sloping, you see, remember, uniformly. So this is the kind of a thing, and the height will be again by rule of proportion, you see. So here this is the height D and here it is the height H, and what is the height here? Proportionately one could calculate, and you will get this by rule of proportion, and the Ganitata Sahara Sangraha result for this volume is LH by 6 into 2A plus B plus D. So this is what he is saying is, this is the length L, okay, this is the H, this is B A, and this is the height at the other end where it has fallen, right. So LH by 6 into 2A plus B plus D, and I have tried to do it by using integration exactly, and this seems to be the result, LH by 6. So this first term is correct, and these are the things which are there. So 2A plus B plus D he is getting, but what should one get is this. So he has made some these things. Of course, these are more complicated thing, simple arguments will not so easily work, like a frustum that may not work here. So probably that is why he has not got the correct result. So anyway, you should check this, what is the correct thing, you can check it using. So this is as usual. So after these areas, then volumes, then he will talk about shadows. So he is talking of the shadow of a gnomon. So this is the shadow is OB, S is equal to S, we put it, the gnomon is OA, okay. So this is the sun, let us say. So from that the shadow of the gnomon is falling here. So this is called a zenith distance, okay. This is called a zenith distance, that is what is happening is that so this is called a celestial sphere, okay. So this is the horizon, so this is the zenith, okay, topmost point of the sky, okay, and then so sun is here, let us say. So this is your gnomon. So now the sun can be somewhere here at some arbitrary time, okay, and this is falling like this, So this is the shadow, this is the shadow, okay, and the shadow will depend clearly on this angle. Of course, this is not to scale at all. Actually, this distance is much more than this. So for just for clarity, I have written like that. So this angle, the angle at which this sun's rays are falling, so that is called a zenith distance, okay, and then 90 minus zenith distance, that is called the altitude of H. How many degrees above sun is on the sky, see that is the altitude, and how much he is below from the zenith, so that is the zenith distance. So one can see that, so if this is the case, if S is the shadow and what is it taking for the, yeah, A is the Neumann height, so then is also Z, so tan Z is S by A, so that is the correct result, tan Z or cot A, because A plus Z is 90 degrees, so that is S by A, so this is correct. And he says, Mahavira says that the time elapsed after sunrise or time yet to elapse before sunset is time t is equal to 1 over 2 into S by A plus 1 units of day. Okay. So, this is the result for, he is giving 1 divided by 2 into S by A plus 1. So, one does not know how he got this, but he has stated this result, because time, one certainly knows that this cannot be correct, because the time is little more complicated, it will not be given in terms of the shadow so easily. In fact, it is correct only when, for a very particular case, when Z is equal to A is equal to 45 degrees, when the latitude and phi and the we call phi and the declination of the sun are ignored. Okay. So, that is especially at the equator this is true, especially the two only on March 21st and September 23rd. So, then in that case, and also when this Z is 45 degrees, then in this case according to the Ganitashara Sangraha, T is equal to 1 by 4 of a day when this is 45 degrees, and according to the formula also T will be sin inverse cos Z, and when Z is equal to A is equal to 45 degrees, T is equal to 45 degrees corresponds to 1/4 of a day. Okay. Because total 360 degrees is day means from sunrise to sunset, so that corresponds to 180 degrees. Okay. So, 1/4 of a day will be 45 degrees. So, the only very particular at only one instant, the two at one particular place, this is true, but it may be approximate, one should see, maybe for Chennai it may not be too bad for certain days, because the latitude is low. Okay. So, one should investigate, a very crude formula. Then the shadow will continue. So, he will note from this thing that this is the shadow divided by height is constant for all object. Okay, naturally, because if this depends only on this this ratio will only depend on the angle at which the sunrise is hitting, right. So, it is constant for all objects. So, normally it is written in terms of the measure of the shadow of a man. So, he says that the Kala Nayanat Dinagata Shesha Samasonitaha Kalaha Stambhaschaya Stambha Pramana Bhaktaiva Paurushi Chaya. The measure of the shadow of a pillar divided by the measure of the height of the pillar gives rise to the measure of the shadow of a man in terms of his own height. So, what is essentially saying is that the shadow of a pillar divided by height of the pillar is equal to shadow of the man divided by the height of the man. So, that is correct. So, now he is talking about a shadow on a wall. So, this is the some pillar is there. So, you are not observing the whole shadow, there is a wall intervening. Okay. So, then what is the shadow? What is this height? What is this height? What is the this thing that height? Suppose is A. Suppose the distance between the pillar, this is a pillar. So, this is the wall. So, distance between C, this thing is C, and the shadow itself is x. Okay. So, then what is the height of this? So, this is also relevant. So, he says that the essentially, so there is a pillar of height A, there is a wall in front of it at a distance C from it. So, let the height of the shadow be h, sorry, height, Yeah, height of the shadow on the wall, height of the shadow on the wall, that is what is this, that is h, and let b be the measure of the human shadow in terms of the man's height. So then the above verse says that h is a into b minus c by b. Okay. So this is the shadow of a. So this is an important result, and is again relevant for instance for lunar eclipse, because so if this is the earth, okay, so sun rays is coming, and suppose this is the moon's orbit, so there is no wall, but anyway, so this is where the moon is traveling. So then the shadow of this thing, that will be shadow region will be this, okay. So the moon is completely in this, you see, then the full lunar eclipse, and partially it will be partial this thing, okay. So I will come to that. Yeah, b is a measure of the human shadow in terms of the man height. Not shown in the figure, not shown in the figure. Yeah. So you have to add another figure with the man, this thing. Yeah. Essentially, the tan z is human shadow divided by the man's height. So that tan shadow, tan of the angle or cot of the angle, that is that. H is a into, so this is the result that is given. Again it comes from similar triangles. So if x is the distance between the wall and the tip of the shadow, then x is bh. So that is, so because this is constant, x is b into h, because x by h is constant, okay. The shadow divided by height is equal to the shadow of a man, that is where the b comes, is a proportionality constant basically. X by h is essentially equal to the human shadow divided by his height. So that is what it comes here, that is the b here. So x is equal to bh. So if you take this triangle a divided by c plus x is equal to h by x. So these are two similar triangles, right. So a divided by c plus x is equal to h by x. So which is 1 by b, because that is the definition. So a is c plus x by b is c plus bh by b. So h is ab minus c by b. So that is how it is. The height and the shadow at any given time can be calculated like this. So then again he gives some example. Minchati hastaha stambho bisti stambantaram kara ashto purushachaya dvigna bittigata stambhabha kim syat. A pillar is 20 hastas in height. The interval between the pillar and the wall on which the shadow falls is 8 hastas. The human shadow at that time is twice the man's height. So that is where this b is given. The human shadow at that time is twice the man's height. So the b is given here essentially. What is the measure of that portion of the pillar shadow which is on the wall? So this can be tried as an exercise. So then one of the last problems which he discusses in the shadow is a slanting pillar. So his AB is a slanting pillar and AC is its shadow. Suppose AE, AD is the same pillar in vertical position. Then if that is so, when in vertical position its shadow will be AE, and let R be the ratio of a man to his man's shadow to his height. I think it should be man's shadow to his height, and BG is the perpendicular from B and D, B on AD. So this is the distance between this and this. So this essentially gives the amount of slant. So this you can say that this is the pillar and is slanting like this, so that the this perpendicular is BG. So it is a measure of the slant of the pillar AB. So then in that case, so one can show that, so essentially maybe it is better to so this is the this can be one this thing. So suppose it is slanting, so then in that case, so it is A, so this is your B, this is your G, this is your D, so this is your E, and AC, when it is an AC, so this B, this thing will be, that will be the DE, one sorry, go past that hypotenuse, right? Yeah, slanting is this actually, and suppose this is the slanting pillar, yeah, so this will be like this, okay, so this is B, so this is G kind of thing, right, okay, so this is the figure, and this is F, okay. So the shadow in the vertical position, that is AE, shadow in the slanting position is AB, I mean shadow in the slanting position is AC, yeah. So then from the similar triangles, BF by FC, so that is equal to AD by AE, okay, because there will be similar triangles, because the angle will be the same, right, that angle will be the same. So that is equal to the shadow by the object's effective height, that is 1 by R, okay, or rather the height divided by the shadow is 1 by R, because R is shadow by height. So then BF is equal to AG in the figure, BF AG, that is the perpendicular thing. So that is square root of AB squared minus BG squared, and FC is equal to AC minus BG. So BF squared is AB squared minus BG squared. You can see that AB is AC minus BG, sorry, AB squared minus BG squared. So from this, square root of AB squared minus BG squared is equal to BF squared, and from this, so finally you get this whole squared into 1 by R squared. So essentially what you get is a quadratic equation for BG. So the quadratic equation for BG, and so, and the solution is given by AC minus this kind of a thing. So you can find out the slant also. Suppose you are given the height of that thing, pillar, and that is AB is the height of that pillar, and which is slanting, and its shadow is AC, okay. So then, and R is the shadow by height, so then this will be the thing, okay, because if it is not slanting, you see the shadow by the height will be given by R only, right. Shadow by height is R if there is no slant. It is a vertical thing, then shadow by height is R, but it is slanting, it is different, and precisely this is the formula for that, and satisfies the quadratic equation, okay. So this is some kind of a new problem that he has discussed compared to the Brahmaspata Siddhanta. Similarly, the rule for arriving at the shadow of a pillar due to the light of the lamp, so that is given, the height of the lamp is diminished by the height of the pillar and is divided by the height of the style, okay. If the quotient so obtained, by means of the quotient so obtained, the horizontal distance between the lamp and the style pillar is divided, the measure of the shadow of the style is arrived at. So essentially what is giving is the old result, that that if this is the pillar and this is the lamp, and this is the height of the lamp, and so then in that case, say now it is a gnomon basically, pillar means a gnomon. So then S by A is equal to C plus S by B. So the shadow S is equal to AC by B minus C. This we had discussed earlier also. So it is essentially giving the same problem. So this is the, so essentially the last problem, the class of problems that are discussed in this text is the shadow problem, okay. So we have seen the arithmetical operations, arithmetic, various operations and results connected with arithmetic. So and then you go to areas and then excavations and then shadows. There is a general typical way in which a textbook is organized. So this essentially covered some some of the basic things and the important things that Gandita Sara Sangraha covers. Okay, and I have also emphasized what is the new thing he is doing compared to the earlier mathematicians. And as I told, it is a very extensive work with lot of examples, and given in nice examples in good verse. So, it is worth having a look at. The references are given here. Okay, thank you.